Okay, so Manthan, a film directed by Shyam Benegal, has been lovingly restored by Film Heritage Foundation in collaboration with the Italian film lab L'imagine Ritrovata Bologna, also from generous support from Amul. So today in this panel, we would be seeing the process of restoration of Manthan, how it was undertaken would be discussed. I will introduce the panelists who are here. So we have Dr. Jayen Mehta, who's from Amul. Uh, I think all of you, if you don't know, Amul played a major role back then when Manthan was produced and also played a critical role in the restoration of the film. We have Mr. Shivendra Singh Dungarpur, who's the founder and director of Film Heritage Foundation and who's responsible for ensuring the completion of the restoration of the Manthan and also presenting it at Cannes. So it's one of the few Indian films which are being showcased as part of the official lineup of Cannes Festival. So I would again like the audience to acknowledge this with a huge round of applause. We have our secretary, so Sanjay Jaju from Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. He is representing National Film Archive of India, where the original camera negatives of Manthan were preserved and so that the restoration was made possible. We have Ms. Nirmala Kurien, who's daughter of Sir Verghese Kurien, whose life story inspired the film Manthan, which Shyam Benegal made. So I will hand over the mic to Shivendra to take this further.
Thank you, Bhavesh. Uh, First of all, warm welcome, Dr. Mehta, Dr. Jaju, Nirmala ji. Uh, you know, the story of Manthan, they will tell you exactly because they've been a big supporter. I'm going to just bring in what Manthan meant to them when we went for restoration. I'll also talk about the restoration, and then from Mr. Jaju, we'd like to hear the role of the National Film Archive and further collaborations which will happen because as you know, the National Film Heritage Mission is almost restoring 3,000 films, 4,000 films, yeah. So we're going to look at that. But first, let me ask Dr. Mehta. Dr. Mehta, when I approached you that we need to restore this film, there was not a single moment of hesitancy in your mind. And how lovingly you've supported the whole process. And it's been a remarkable. So what did it mean to you? Because you've just taken over as an MD a few years ago. How do you perceive, is Manthan still relevant? I mean?
Yes, of course. First of all, thank you so much for doing this great job of restoring a film, which is not just a film. It's actually a socio-economic impact on the Indian society and dairy industry and empowerment of women that we are talking about, but which happened almost 50 years back. At that time, India's milk production was very less. To put in numbers, it was just 25 million metric tons, just 5 to 6% of the global milk production. Today, India is the largest producer of milk in the world, with almost 1/4 of the total milk in the world produced in the country. Amul's turnover at that time was hardly $25 million. Today, we are a $10 billion organization. We were just 2,000 odd cooperative societies in India at that time, the dairy cooperative societies. Today, India has almost 200,000 village dairy cooperative societies and 17 million farmer families associated with that. And in India, milk is the largest agricultural crop with a value of output more than wheat, paddy, and oilseeds put together. And India is among the top producers in the world for all these agriculture cooperatives. So you can imagine the impact of how a dairy cooperative model, which is depicted in the Manthan film way back in 1976, transformed India, its millions of milk producers, giving a source of livelihood to more than 10 crore families in the country today. And more importantly, the government also realizing that cooperatives are a tool of dairy development. India is the only country in the world which has a Ministry of Cooperation, headed by none other than our Home Minister, Shri Amit Shah. And both the vision of our Prime Minister and vision of our Honorable Home Minister to make cooperatives across all sectors, across the country, so that India gains leadership in all the aspects of agriculture. So this is the impact of Manthan. This is the Golden Jubilee year of GCMF, and we are happy to be here at this stage for the relaunch of, so to say, Manthan, and which showcases the India story and the future of India.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And also we intend to show the film. We are intending to release the film. Entire India in 70 cities, so that everyone, we have tied up with PVR, with Cinepolis on June 1st, which is the World Milk Day. we will release the film for normal public to go to the theaters. And that's one of the big things about the Film Heritage Foundation. And in the past, we have collaborated very closely with the NFAI when we did the Devanand Festival. And we saw the far-reaching, that what do you do to a restored film if you don't bring it back to the public? But also the plans are for us to take it back to the villagers. That's also one of the big challenges. I'll now turn to Nirmala ji, who's the daughter of the legendary man who revolutionized the white revolution. This would not have happened. Dr. Shyam Benegal, we are missing him today. And he keeps talking about the love and affection he had for your father and how they conceived the idea. Tell us what Manthan means to you and what would it have meant for your father today.
Well, I think the major thing is that my father thought of doing this simply because he had just started Operation Flood, which was responsible for the revolution in milk in India. And he felt that the story was a story worthwhile to be told. It was also a film that was taken to all the villages by the Spearhead team and shown to the villagers to start cooperatives in the villages that were covered under Operation Flood. So it was used as also a tool of training. And he really believed in equity and equality. He believed that all human beings are equal and should be respected, whatever caste, creed, or religion they came from. Therefore, all villages have one line, one can, and one vote. It really doesn't matter how rich you are, how much milk you produced, you are all equal. So on those philosophies, my father's philosophy, cooperatives have become very popular. I remember going as a college student to see the first cut and thinking, what on earth is my father doing producing movies? He's a milkman, he's not a producer. And we went and saw the movie. That was the first cut. And it was so brilliant. I cannot tell you how well it turned out. And this, probably the restoration of this, is just such a brilliant idea. God bless the farmers of India. Thank you.
Secretary Saab, now very important, you've just taken over the role on this department. You've got many challenges, but one of the big challenges, of course, is the mammoth task which the ministry is undertaken on restoration and preservation. How do you look at the future of this, and what are the goals which the government is setting forward on preserving our heritage?
At the outset, my tribute to Dr. Kurien, who started the Operation Flood and the revolution that, it's truly a revolution. I mean, if we are we're the largest producers of milk in the world, and the credit will entirely go to him and his entire, and the team that worked with him. In fact, since morning when I was planning to come for this event, that song, Mera Gaon Katha Pare, huh? I think Vani Jairam? Who did? Oh, sorry, Priti Sagar. Huh? And I have vivid memories. I used to be 7-year-old then. I still have vivid memories of Manthan, and I'm extremely delighted that we are going to be part of this tribute today. My gratitude and thanks to our friend Shivendra. You did yeoman's job in terms of not just restoring this particular movie, but at the same time you have been doing a great job in the Film Heritage Foundation. And I'd also like to thank my dear friend Mehta ji for supporting this initiative. And I think films are obviously, as I've been saying last 2 days, they are part of our ethos, pathos, and it's so important that they are preserved for the posterity. And lot of work is happening. You have been doing a lot of work, and from the government side, as all of you are aware, we also have the National Films Archive of India, NFAI, and now NFAI has been merged with the National Film Development Corporation, and even this film, Manthan, the original camera negative of Manthan was actually preserved at the National Film Archive of India, and I'm very happy that we could play an instrumental role in getting this film restored, and the not just this film. I mean, we have a project. We call it the National Film Heritage Mission Project, and under that project, we have allocated more than 1,000 crores, and 4,000 films, 4,000 plus films, are being restored at the National Films Archives of India, and as Shivendra pointed out, it's not just important to preserve them, but it's also important to you know uh, allow this generation to have a look at the cinema then, because history actually teaches us. History is the best teacher, and it really opens a complete new facet and window into the future, and it's important that the current generation gets an opportunity to look at all the classics, as we call them, and not just entertain themselves, but at the same time get inspired and get educated, and create a vision for the future. uh, as was mentioned, the relevance of cooperatives. I mean, after 50 years, as was pointed out a few years back, India arguably is the only country in the world which has a ministry for cooperation, and multi-state cooperations have also become huge. I mean, you have the examples of IFCO, you have the examples of CRIPCO, you have large number of banks which have multi-state cooperative banks. At the same time, the entire movement of farmer produce organizations is also the result of the cooperative movement that we kind of had in our country, starting with the example of Amul. So very happy that today we are going to be showcasing Manthan here, and very happy that you are going to be putting it out for distribution on June 1st, and I think that's what is very important. I have also been telling my team that while we have these 4,000 films, there are a large number of documentaries that have been done by the film division. We also have a lot of content available with Prasar Bharati, lot of content available with NFDC, a lot of e-books available with our publications division, photo division, and in fact, we are also going to be putting this entire material out for public consumption very shortly through an OTT platform that we are going to be creating, and most probably in the next couple of months you will be able to hear something about that. And it's important that all these classics are available for people to have a look, and yeah, okay, sorry. And and that's where the Film Heritage Mission, as I was mentioning to you, is in the process of not just digitizing more than 4,000 films, restoring them, putting subtitles there, doing color corrections, etc., so that they are restored to the same level at which we were able to see them when they were released back then. Uh, Also want to tell you that a lot of restoration work has also been undertaken. Satyajit Ray's Pratidvandi, which was exhibited in Cannes in 2022, and at the same time, Devanand films, which includes classics like Guide, Jewel Thief, have also been showcased across 30 Indian cities. To celebrate Raj Kapoor's 100th anniversary, NFAI is also restoring some of his landmark films, and the idea is to bring Raj Kapoor and his uh, uh, charisma back to the big screen in a way not seen since the original release of his films. Mr. Hinduja is here. He's been responsible for bringing Sangam here, apparently. Yes, correct. And I think a tribute to Raj Kapoor would definitely be in order. So, friends, I'm very happy that NFAI and the Heritage Foundation collaborated and is going to be collaborating in future to restore all such classics, and very happy that Manthan is going to be unveiled today. Thank you. In its new avatar.
Thank you. Um, yeah, I'll just quickly talk a little bit about restoration so that you have an idea of that, and then we can take questions. We have a little short time, then we can answer questions to the public. Well, the original negative of the film, which is what the film is, which goes through the camera, for people who do not know, that was lying at the NFAI, deposited by the Gujarat Milk Federation. They had deposited the negative. So we took that. It had a lot of green molds, because the negative over a period of time, but still the quality of negative, what you will see, is when you see Smita Patel's face there, and when you see the close-ups, it's just mesmerizing. You got to go back on. Always remember the original camera negative. It's almost 24K. I was explaining to people on digital that when you go and see a film in a theater on a DCP, you are seeing only 4K. The power of celluloid is almost 24K. So your original negative is like your mother. You can never give it away. You have to store it, save it, keep reworking. Restoration is a process. No building is perfect always. You have to keep restoring the Taj. Every day there's work at the Taj Mahal. So every film has to be treated, which is important. Films like Manthan. So it was a very tedious. The sound negative had almost gone. There was no sound negative. We didn't have the sound. And we had to take it from different prints. We had to get the DG betas. There was a lot of work. In fact, the film was not syncing because the prints were already cut by the projection. You know, when they go for projection. So it was a huge challenge to bring it back on a lot of work by Bologna, by Prasad, by everyone. To ensure that we are able to see the film. So it's been a great, but the joy of then showing it back to the farmers, the joy of showing it back to the public, and a film like this, it's just an amazing feeling. And all the support, thanks to the ministry and the entire NFAI, which is my temple. You know, PK Nair was my guru. So I began at FTI, and I started my career there. So for me, that's the temple of cinema, where it created the whole generation of filmmakers. And so we're also planning, we concentrate so much in the north. I was in talks with Nagarjuna and that Nageshwar Rao is turning 100. And we must also release his films. The NFAI has a few films. We've been talking Devdasu and all those great films. And we must also look at cinema from all over the region and not just India. So that's what about it. So thank you. Any questions to, yes, you can give the mic. So is that fine?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to point out how important this work that you're doing is. 20 years ago.
We are doing,
yeah,
not just me.
all of you. No, and congratulate you. Because I just want to explain you why. Just an example. 20 years ago, we organized in Spain a retrospective of Shyam Benegal's films. So here is, imagine we are in this big film hall in Madrid. Shyam Benegal is there, Girish Karnad is there, and we're showing Manthan. And the people could really understand the story. They could connect to it, the farmers, because it's a very universal way of looking at the struggle and the crowdfunding of how the film was made. He explained that. But then something happened. So Manthan was a big success. It was a great thing. Girish was there, and Shyam, they both went for bullfighting afterwards. Shyam knew a lot about Spain, more than Girish, so he was his guide. But then it was the film Bhumika. So I remember I had to carry those films, the negatives, in my own car and drive them from the embassy to the heavy, big, huge rolls. And Shyam was looking at them, do you think this will work? I mean, they've not been shown for so long. So we started screening Bhumika. And about 5 minutes into the film, it just burnt. It went and Shyam was really sad. I said, will they ever restore these films? Because they could barely, this is maybe they had not been shown for so long. And here now, with 20 years later, exactly 20 years later, you're doing this incredible work, showing these films. And it's just maybe a coincidence that I'm here. I'm going to call Shyam, tell him that I was happy to be here and see this. And also for the 50 years of Sangam, Sangam, the classics, Raj Kapoor's classic. Just want to mention, we should also show that film, and her father, Carlos Sada, was going to do a Spanish Sangam, which never got made, and the script is there. It would be nice also to bring that back to life. And it was going to be Sangam, which means confluence. Thank you.
Shivendra, I have a question of you. Yes, sir. Important for all filmmakers. There's just one of our negatives that we've sent you recently. That was 1988. When should we start worrying about restoration of a film?
Straight away, because you see, it depends on what your original negative is looking like. If the condition is you're getting a little smell because the film you sent is an acetate base,
Yeah.
and if there is a little smell or if there is a little bit of that, you will need to start worrying straight away, because what is very important is how the film is preserved, and that is why the NFAI is doing the new vaults. They're coming up with new humidity controlled. They are trying to provide the producers the best possible facility to be looked after.
No, so I'm with you on that in the sense
Yeah.
that 2-3 years ago, when the negative business was going out of business, we transferred all our negative, whether it is Electric Moon, Bandit Queen, all my films to NFAI.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what condition they are in NFAI.
No, so that Bhavesh is here.
Yeah.
And you see, they're constantly monitoring that.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, it's between them and you to tell you where it needs. I will never know whether my film knows it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So Bhavesh, I don't know when my film will need restoration.
So we are actually, as you know, sir pointed out, like we are doing restoration of all the significant films.
Right.
But restoration itself is a time-consuming process.
Right.
So digitization is something which has been already undertaken. So restoration, slowly, all the films one by one, they would be restored in coming years. And of course, as you rightly pointed out, if there is a negative which is in a very bad shape, it would automatically get priority. But right now, also the priority is the films which have received no attention whatsoever, and you know, not just restoration, but the audience has not only seen
No,
it.
my point is that sort of job and responsibility has to lie with you because we don't know.
But that work is ongoing, and you know,
because
the
we
films
just
are
told the
being-
lab, please transfer our films to NFAI in the thought that, you know, at least now it is
No,
secure.
no. But the thing is that, sir, also it's a very
they'll have to
tedious.
tell him, you know,
it's a
well,
very tedious. We are so used to digital. We want instant everything. This is not instant. The 1.5 years to restore Manthan. By the time we started, we got the thing. 1 year wo lag jata hai. The painstaking work, sir.
So,
and
you know-
even the people who are checking the films, no.
Yeah.
Just imagine he has to put every frame, roll everything, check the reports, prepare.
But Shivendra, we are talking about 100 years of cinema now. We are talking about at least a few hundred or more great films probably lying in NFAI.
But they've done that.
You know, what I'm saying is that 1.5 years per film gives me the impression that there should be 6 of you and not one of you doing this.
No, but they have people now. They're increasing,
I think
and
that's the reason why government came up with National Film Heritage Mission at that large scale. Of course, it's going to take time, but that's the fundamental reason why such a huge quantum, which has never been attempted in anywhere, in any part of the world.
It's happening. Yeah. Because that's the concern we have as filmmakers.
and you can reach out to any of us. We are there.
This would be a last question.
Yeah, last question before we.
I'd like to thank, you see, Amul and you see Dr. Kurien, who did a fantastic job with the, you know, when they had a problem with Nestle and how they were able to win the, you know, success story by competing with Nestle, which is a historical record. So I would say that Amul should come up with a film on Amul itself in the memory of Dr. Kurien, so that this film can be shown all around the world.
Thank you, sir. We have to wind up, but
And the
before
last point,
sure.
please. This China and India, there was a film called Dr. Courtney's
Yes, it's a beautiful film.
Now this restoration of that film
Yeah.
is taken care. And now this film have to be properly restored and showed to the Chinese.
Yes, of course.
Because the Chinese will know that how the Indian doctor helped them and how much life they, saved. So this can be shown in the Cannes Festival. I
Sure.
would request if this could be brought into the
And
limelight.
just before we end, tomorrow look out for the Amul ad, which is my favorite. It has Manthan going to Cannes. So look it out. It's something which we're
Thank you
going
very
to
much.
smile about. And thank you very much. Doctor wants to gift you something. Yeah. Thank you, Bhavish. Yeah. That's. Yeah.
Would like to present a small souvenir to Secretary Sir. Again, the words of Dr. Kurien, but then in Indian mythology, cow is a Kamdhenu and Kalpvruksh fulfills all our dreams and desires.
Fantastic.
This is In Search of the Lord.
Very beautiful. Beautiful art of piece.